Heading to Portage today to go talk with some kids. It's a rehab center, hopefully change some lives. This up here, this is where I got pulled over when I was 16. So I was coming down the highway and the roadblock was over there and there was trees so you couldn't see. And this is about where I got pulled over, just right here on the side of the road. The police asked me for my driver's license and insurance and all that stuff. I didn't have a license. And he said, just pull over. I lied. And when he kind of turned around, I took off and ended up smashing into a house not too far from here. So everything changed in this little part of the world.
I know Dan for 22 years. When Dan came to treatment, he was very angry. But we felt and we knew he had potential. He's himself. And that's why I respect that guy so much. Because he's himself. No matter what, no matter who he's speaking to, is going to be the same Dan Martell. So Dan.
At 16 years old, I found myself driving a stolen car high on drugs just outside of Sussex. And it was actually on the exit to Sussex where there was a routine roadblock. We actually just stopped to see it on the way here, where the police had set up and I couldn't see it. So when I kind of took the exit, they were there. I didn't have a license, and they asked me to pull over to the side, and I decided to gun it. And I thought if I could just get away from them, maybe I could run into the woods and hide. And what had happened prior to that a few weeks is I did a break and enter, and I had stolen a bunch of guns, and I had a handgun in a backpack sitting next to me. And I said to myself, if I got pulled over or stopped by the police, I was going to point the gun at the police and let them do their job. And as I was trying to take off, I was in a neighborhood. I had quite a bit of distance, but they were pretty much right behind me. And I saw an open garage, and I thought if I could pull into the garage and close the door, I could hide out. And I came way too fast into this guy's yard and smashed into the side of the house and started pulling on the handgun that was in the backpack. And it got stuck, and I kept pulling on it and pulling on it. I could hear the police getting closer. And next thing you know, the door opened and the police grabbed me and my feet didn't even touch the ground. And they threw me in the back of the cop car, and I woke up sober the next morning in the Sussex jail, the city jail. Not knowing what my life was going to look like, not knowing, what kind of trouble I got myself into. And I got released to Portage. So I remember the day that I got brought here in the sheriff's van, driving down that same road that I just drove my car down, 22 years ago. If somebody would have said I'd be driving down this highway in a supercar, I would have just thought there's no way. Like, it's crazy. Like, how would that ever happen? I did an 11-month program here. I had a lot of shit I had to deal with. And Rick asked me one day, I actually did like a summer program here after I graduated to work, to build, I guess you guys don't even have the trailers anymore, the old trailers. Anyways, I helped build that. And I learned way too many Dixie Chicks lyrics than I care to admit, because that's Rick's musical choice. But there was is there cabins up there? Are those gone too? Yeah, so there used to be cabins at the top, and because there was an old church camp, and we were clearing out one of the rooms, and there was this old computer with a book on Java programming, a programming language, like random, just sitting there. And I opened up this book, and I started to read it, and I was like, oh, this kind of reads like English. It's not, gibberish. I always thought computer programming would be this like weird foreign, like hieroglyphics, or you needed to be like a math scientist to understand it. And I just booted up the computer, and I followed chapter 1, and I got the computer to say, hello world, okay? Now, it doesn't sound that exciting. I thought I was a computer genius. I thought I was like an undiscovered Doogie Howser of programming. Okay, that's how high I was on my ego at the time. But like, that was enough of a spark to just realize like, oh, if I can make it do that, I wonder what else it could do. And truthfully, computers became my new addiction. And I got out, and it was in 1997, discovered this thing called the internet, which turned out to be kind of a big deal. Most of you guys have never lived without that. It was just starting when I got into computers, and business became kind of my outlet to express the creativity that I had. And the way I look at it is that entrepreneurship is really the ultimate personal development program. When you talk about betterment and learning how to be a better person, there's really no better feedback mechanism than building a business, because if you're stuck, people think they have business problems when they really have personal problems that just show up in their business. And then programming became my new addiction. And I've been fortunate enough since then to have started 5 software companies. I've sold the last 3. I became a multimillionaire when I was 27. I've since now invested in 40 other companies. 4 of them are billion-dollar companies. And I don't share any of this to brag. I share this to give you guys context for what's possible. Okay? In a 22-year period, I went from right where you guys are sitting to living a life that I didn't even have the ability or the understanding to dream of. Okay? In 22 years. And I'm just getting started. I'm not even 40 yet. I'm having a lot of fun, and I'm still just getting started. And throughout that journey, there's just been so many incredible people that have just showed up at the right time. And it's why it's so important for me to come back and share my story with you guys and, support anybody here that someday, if you get out and you stay sober for at least a year and you reach out to me, I will help you achieve any dream you possibly could design. That's my commitment. I've done it for many graduates. I had somebody reach out to me the other day. I really believe that's why I'm here on earth. So that's my story. If you guys have any questions, let's have a conversation. Here's what's interesting about what you said is that I've had a lot of faith, and I'd be lying if I told you when I got out of here I had any faith in myself to do anything I've done today. It literally was, all right, how do I stay sober? That was it. I had one goal when I got out of here: don't relapse. So in AA, if you want to have sobriety, you actually have to support other people's sobriety. I'll tell you, that's a lesson I learned at 17 that most adults to this day haven't figured out. Isn't that crazy? These are things that you guys are learning. I'm good in business today because I was in this room. The challenge is when you guys get out and you have friends that are still struggling, you're going to want to help them because you care about them. Does that make sense? Here's what happens. I call it the tugboat versus the lighthouse. You guys want to learn what this is about? You guys want to know? It's pretty cool. I don't have to share it. You guys want to learn? Lighthouse versus tugboat? Okay, cool. It's really simple. The other people in your life are like boats drifting in the ocean with no rudder, okay? Now, you got clean, you built a better boat, and you got a rudder. And you see that, and you act like a tugboat. And what does that mean is you go ramming out there and saying, fucking, you guys got to make a better decision. You got to go this way, that way, right? Because you're sober, you're clean. This could be to your parents, this could be to your stepfather, this could be to your cousins, your uncles, whoever it is, people in your life. The problem with that is that it's going to drain you and it's going to frustrate them. Does that make sense? So anytime you feel an inclination to give somebody else advice, go look in a mirror and give it to yourself. Because we all can be better.
I don't know how you carry yourself around. It's like big motivation, just trying to transfer this all out. And like I get out this time and try to be successful, but.
Can you do me a favor? Yeah. Can you take that word try, wrap it up and throw it out? You'll never hear me use the word try. I just don't. I don't know, like the Yoda thing. There is no try. There is do or do not, right? But it's funny how, like, in the language we use, it sets so much intention for the future. Who you are today is not who you need to become to get to the next level. Does that make sense? Like, who you were when you showed up, okay? Think about your beliefs and values that you had when you showed up. The person that graduates doesn't believe or act that way anymore. Does that make sense? Like, you probably have new habits. Do you agree? You have a different perspective on life. You're still fundamentally who you are, right? Whatever your name is and how you show up in the world, you're that person. But the habits, beliefs, and values that you have are different. And the reason why that's true is because if you didn't change that, you wouldn't be able to have this. Like if you know, when you're sober for a year, you're not going to be the same person that showed up day one at Portage. So it's like every day when I ask myself what's next, I'm actually asking myself this cool question of who do I need to become to get that? Because I believe every day we wake up, we have a decision to make. We can either live an ordinary life or we can live an extraordinary life. That's a decision. We all have the power. So that's the cool part. Cool part is you don't have to do it alone. I'm here. I'll help you. And I've got a team, man. I got a team. I got resources. And I will help you guys achieve whatever you want to set as a dream. You got to do some work, but we'll do it together. Does that make sense? Yeah. That's the commitment. But you got to stay sober a year. That unlocks the conversation. Cool? Cool. Awesome. Let's go eat. I don't know. Let's do 3. It's really just ask yourself, what's the next move I can do today? That's it. Just today. A lot of it I learned being here, right? Rehab, it's not like 10 years in the future, it's today. How do I stay sober today? So who's leaving? You guys are leaving? Why?
I called my girlfriend last night for the first time in 2 days. And she told me one of her really, really good friends on himself.
The unfortunate part of Isaiah, the only person that can keep you here is you. All I know is that if I didn't stay, and I could have. So this is the crazy part about my program, it's 11 months. And after 5, I could have left because I had a 10-month sentence. I did 5 in St. John Regional, and then I had 5 closed custody technically here. And that day, all the staff and everybody knew that was the day that I could have left and not get arrested. And I'd been gone for a year. Not get arrested, not nothing. Yeah, it was just like, it was a hard day, man. I just know that my life would have looked dramatically different, and I probably wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be alive, period. All right. See you, man. Reach out, Colton? All right. See you, man. Stay out of trouble? That's cool. That was the first building. This is the camp where I found the programming book, right in there. That was the one. Crazy.